Hello and welcome to JAMA Network Open Conversations. I'm Angel Desai, Associate Editor for JAMA Network Open. Today we are speaking with Dr. Alessandra Grotta and Dr. Mikael Rostila about suicide around the anniversary of a parent's death in Sweden. Welcome to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To start, can I have you please both introduce yourselves?
So my name is Mikael Rostila. I'm a professor of public health sciences at Stockholm University in Sweden.
My name is Alessandra Grotta. I am a researcher and a statistician at the Department of Public Health Sciences of Stockholm University.
Just to begin, can you tell us a bit about the background of the study and what prompted your interest in this topic?
We have previously studied how the loss of a family member and a parent specifically impacts various aspects of health, disease, and mortality. So far we have found that parental death actually has an impact on different types of health outcomes using primarily observational data. But the problem in these studies is the issue of causality. That is it really the loss per se that sort of impacts the health of bereaved individuals? Or are there confounding by sort of some unobserved factors? For instance, it's possible that a high risk of suicide in both parents and offspring then is explained by genetic vulnerabilities or some shared environmental conditions that sort of increases the risk of suicide in both the parent and offspring. So the previous literature has suggested that anniversaries trigger grief and contribute to the acute deterioration of mental health and thereby increasing the risk of suicide. And by studying anniversary reactions, we try to solve the issue of causality and sort of study the causal effect by grief on mental health and ultimately suicide.
A really interesting question. Can you tell us a bit about the Swedish National Registry and where the data came from for the study?
Yes, for this study, we used data from the Swedish National Registers. These are longitudinal and population-based data.
And what did you do in the study and what were your main findings?
Overall, we found an evidence for an anniversary reaction among women for the period ranging from the anniversary up to 2 days after. We found that the anniversary reaction was more pronounced in the years close to the parental death. We found that women losing a parent between the age of 18 and 34, and as well women losing a parent between the age of 50 and 65, they were vulnerable to the anniversary reaction, but not the women in the middle. Women who lost a parent between the age of 35 and 50. We also found married women to be less vulnerable and women losing a mother to be more vulnerable to the anniversary reaction. And the results among men were different. We found a decreased risk of suicide around the anniversary. And patterns were similar over time, and we did not see particular patterns depending on maternal versus paternal death.
Really very interesting findings here. This study specifically looked at parental loss. However, this could potentially be the case for other types of loss as well. I don't know if there have been other studies that have looked at this in other contexts.
We have performed, as I mentioned previously, also many other studies on different types of losses within the family and different types of bereavement. We have not looked specifically in most of those on anniversary effects, but we have seen that sibling deaths, for example, and also child deaths very much impact the health of surviving relatives. So I think we can say that these kinds of bereavement effects exist also with regard to other types of relationships within the family.
What do you think are potentially some of the next unanswered questions in the area or work that you may be conducting in this space in the future?
First of all, it would of course be interesting to look at, here we looked at parents, but also try to see if there are these kinds of anniversary effects, for example, following the loss of a sibling, or a spouse, for example. We have published one previous paper on anniversary effects, and that was on the loss of a child. And the results seem to correspond to this paper, but that was focusing on mortality. But here we also analyzed suicides. It would be, of course, interesting to also look at other types of health outcomes. I mean, anniversaries can give rise to different kinds of stress reactions. So we might also see sort of effects on, for example, cardiovascular diseases and more physical diseases. So that would be interesting to look at in the future.
Do you have any final thoughts regarding the study or anything that we didn't cover?
I think an interesting finding here is that we see these kinds of anniversary effects in women, but not in men. They rather tend to have somewhat lower suicide risks around the anniversary since the loss. That was quite surprising to us. We have seen similar patterns in one previous study, but I think it would be interesting to try to study or find explanations for these gender differences. But then we probably need other types of methods and maybe more qualitative methods to try to explain why men does not seem to be affected by anniversaries to the same extent as women.
A lot of important public health implications there. Thank you so much to the both of you for speaking with me today about this paper and this important topic. This episode was produced by Daniel Morrow at the JAMA Network. The audio team here also includes Shelley Steffens, Lisa Harden, Audrey Foreman, Mary Lynn Ferkaluk, Hannah Park, and Dr. Linda Brubaker, Senior Editor, Multimedia. To follow this and other JAMA Network podcasts, please visit us online at jamanetworkaudio.com. I'm Angel Desai. Thanks for listening.